what gave you the idea to study the contestants on The Biggest Loser?
Right. Well, actually, I came home from the lab late one night, turned on the television, and saw people stepping on scales at the end of a previous season of The Biggest Loser, and I couldn't believe how much weight they were losing. It was dramatic amounts. And so, this was my field of study, and I figured I should be able to understand what's going on. And so I eventually contacted the physician in charge of their care at The Biggest Loser, and started chatting with them about, well, what's happening to these folks' metabolism? How much fat are they losing versus lean tissue? And these kinds of questions. And we basically collaborated initially on a study that was published several years ago about what was happening to their metabolic rate and their body composition as they lost weight. And now, 6 years later, we did this follow-up study on 14 of those 16 original subjects.
Okay, so you followed up with them 6 years after they lost weight. And what did you discover?
Yeah, so as you mentioned in the introduction, we were very surprised by the fact that despite regaining a substantial quantity of the weight that they'd lost, their resting metabolic rate, that's the number of calories their body is burning in order to just basically maintain life, was still at this very low level that we observed at the end of the weight loss period on average, and much less, about 500 calories a day less than would be expected for their newer, slightly higher body size. So this means that they're at some sort of disadvantage in terms of trying to keep the weight off. And so we weren't that surprised that folks had regained the weight. We sort of expected that. Most people who lose a lot of weight will regain some of it back. But what we were most surprised by was the persistent slowing of metabolism that was observed in these folks.